If there's any justice at all in Hollywood, and there rarely is, Bobby Duvall would have won 5 or 6 Academy Awards already. And I warned you about my short speeches. As a Vietnamese, as an Asian American, his portrayal in Apocalypse Now so moved myself, my family, my people. It was so true to life. They swore he was in Vietnam fighting. Come on, Bobby, let's name names. Which directors do you like, and which directors are real, total bleep bleeps?
Well, I get along with Coppola pretty well. I think he's very talented. Ulu Grossbart, who directed American Buffalo on Stage and True Confessions, and there are others I don't get along with. Although I get along with Coppola. There was one scene that was cut out of Apocalypse Now where I throw the megaphone up at the end and walk away in a huff. And I didn't do it in rehearsal, but when the camera rolled, I did that. And he came running over after he said, "Cut, that was terrific, it was wonderful. What made you ever think of throwing a tantrum like that?" Doing that, I said, "Well, I just imitated you throwing a tantrum." He gave me the finger and walked away.
Kirk Douglas once told me that acting is pretending, Tiana. It's so easy. You just pretend and you have fun, and it's just great. Don't think about anything else. Forget the method acting. Then there's Gene Hackman, who says, Tiana, acting is reacting. And that I know Bobby uses a lot because I've watched his work and I've studied his work. And if I have any kind of style, it's trying to do some of the things, trying to achieve some of the things that Bobby Duvall achieves in his work. And maybe he does it so well that he doesn't even think about it. But what are your feelings on methods of acting?
Well, I'm sure Hussein can add very much to this. Well, that word method acting, I know it opens like a can of worms, and it's a much maligned term in the United States. I never studied with Lee Strasberg, so I don't know. I mean, he was a very bright man. I'd been around him a few times, and I guess he was kind of the most ardent disciple or whatever of the method. I think, I would agree with Gene Hackman. He's one of my favorite American actors, although he hasn't worked a lot lately. In fact, it's a very, very funny story. When I came to the Philippines to work on Apocalypse, a Philippine fellow came over and said, Mr. Hackman, I enjoy you very much in the French Connection, and this and this and this. And I said, I'm not Mr. Hackman, I'm Mr. Duvall. He said, oh, you're my favorite actor. So, but I've known Gene Hackman for years. But it's funny, in the United States, when everybody makes it commercially and begins to work, you never see each other again. I haven't seen him in years. While as you're unemployed, everybody gets together. Now, what was the question? I forgot. But,
Jack Nicholson is a friend of yours. He believes in the being method of acting. That is, when you're on camera, you become. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't know if Hussein would agree with me on that. I think that anything, if it works, it works. I mean, you start from the imaginary, and I usually go in a kind of an instinctive way. I try not to over-intellectualize my part. I try to go in rehearsal or feel each other out, just talk and listen, and find from the other person what they're going to give me rather than work from a preconception. What the other actor is going to give me is certainly a lot different from what another guy's going to give me if he's hired. So you have to take, at the moment, rather than come in with preconceptions, take from the moment what the other guy's going to give you and go from there. I also feel that if you go into a scene and you have to be bugged, you have to be angry. I mean, I think you should open yourself up, and if the light is not working, let that work on you. Let that make you mad. Let everything, not just within the imaginary realm, work on you. So you become aware of everything. You're open, and then you focus it. I don't think that you can get it all from your imagination. You have to go outside of yourself to what's available. You can't deny something. A guy once said to me that became a director. He said, when I used to be an actor, I used to go out on stage. I was very nervous until I got into the part. Then there could have been a fire in the audience, and I wouldn't have been aware of it. Well, I disagree with that. I think that there's a fire in the audience, then you use it. I mean, the play may stop, but you got to use everything. I mean, one time I was doing American Buffalo on stage about 5 years ago, And there was a guy that was saying, well, kept goading us from the audience. He said, why don't you speak English? I can't understand you. Why don't you speak up? And I was eating peanuts. I took a bunch of peanuts, and without losing a beat, I just threw them all over him and kept going. You know, these things were working on you. You can't, if you're really, it's in life, if you listen to if you're talking to somebody and somebody's bugging you over here, you somehow, it seeps in. You're not blocking everything out. So you're open. But I think that anything works as long as it works for a person at that moment. As far as the method goes, I mean, it's a very misinterpreted thing in the United States especially. It got into the thing where a method actor was somebody that didn't speak up, that couldn't be understood, because I guess Marlon Brando started that whole thing. I think actors should be understood, and they should, because you go to the Actors Studio in New York City, which is the shrine, the haven of acting in the United States, and 95% of the time you see very bad work. I mean, you see awful work over there. I mean, I don't know what the great claim they have, but I just think that you got to find your own way as an actor, you know, and believe in what you do. And as I said before, you talk, I listen, you talk, and you go from there. And then individual techniques, you know, supplement that basic approach.
So they come in the set and they come in the studio, and he is a god there, you see. He expects everyone to be nice to him. He expects everyone to be kind to him. And this is the director's job. Honestly and truly, he has to baby him, as you can say, you know. It's a big, huge baby. And you have to treat him accordingly and get what you want out of him very smoothly, very nicely. If you have a couch and you can dim the lights a little bit, maybe, you just become a psychiatrist with everyone, every actor, every actress also. Because again, actresses are something out of this world. I'm sorry, I have nothing against you, but from what I've seen through my career...
Women have a very bad reputation, at least in American films. Women have a bad reputation in the music business. Women rock and rollers, they're maligned. That's a whole different seminar also.
No, men actors, because maybe I'm a male, I don't know, but really to be non-biased, and I look at it objectively, men are much easier to handle than women. Women, again, with their hairstyles.
Because they're superior in their intelligence.
No. You know, the hairstyles and the dress and the makeup, and she likes this and she doesn't like that. They give us a hard time on the set.
Well, speaking of hairstyles, I've worked with actors who spend hours on their toupees, actors who draw in their hair piece by piece, who have to travel with their personal hairdresser and makeup artist. Really, it's true. You can look at it both ways.